Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
This is a catastrophe.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
That's what I wished for when I blew out my candle.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
The floor is yours.
Welcome in! Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Wednesday, about half that work week in the rearview mirror. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Jordan Kitchens, Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos, and we're fired up. You are here with Sam Spiegelman. Will be here in 15 minutes talking recruiting. We're getting into a big time in recruiting where you've got visits that are going to come up throughout the season and, of course, National Signing Day right there at the beginning of December. So we'll kind of set the scene for LSU's fall to come in recruiting with Sam Spiegelman from Rivals. Looking forward to that conversation. It's What If Wednesday. If you got a what if for us, toss it to us in the Body Forward chat. You can also hit me up on Twitter at HuntPalmer88, and we always invite text 225-499-1045. LSU has its number 18. It has its two number 7s. We'll talk about that at the end of the hour. PJ Woodland met with the media yesterday. We'll get into some Saints talk. And J.D. Pickell back in action. We've changed our time with J.D. We were kind of playing musical chairs last year with when we could have J.D., when we couldn't, based on his obligations with his, actual job that he does. So we're going to clear his schedule and make sure things work. And I think it looks like 2:30 every Wednesday we'll talk national college football storylines with J.D., which actually happened to kind of circle around Baton Rouge today. And that is, once again, where we start with our opening drive.
Welcome to the big league.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive. Presented by Fabry Chevrolet GMC in St. Francisville.
When we left you yesterday, the Big Ten had voted unanimously not to allow players that had signed professional contracts, had joined professional teams, had declared for professional drafts in the United States to come back and play college athletics. And all we had at that point, when I left you, was a statement from the SEC saying, hey, we don't really want you to do that. And that was kind of all the statement said. There were no penalties put in place, just a declaration from the Southeastern Conference and Commissioner Greg Sankey that, hey, we don't want, quote-unquote, professionals coming back to the college ranks. And so now we've got more. It's 22 hours later than when I last left you, and the SEC did release a vote that was 16-0 and put in place a set of guidelines, rules that you cannot break. Players cannot declare for the NBA draft, the MLB draft, not MLB, NBA, NFL, WNBA. You can certainly declare for the MLB draft as a high schooler and play in college baseball. But no NFL, no NBA, no WNBA, can't do it and come back unless you withdraw. You can't sign a professional contract. You can't be on a roster. You can't work out at practices, okay? They put that in place. And then the question was, well, what are the penalties going to be? And that was what came down earlier today. Wilson Alexander with On 3 reporting that the SEC's professional sports rules, what we're calling this, carries with it, if broken, penalties of 50% season suspension for head coaches. So for football, you're talking about missing 8 games. For baseball, you're talking about missing upwards of 25 games. For basketball, you're talking about missing more than 18 games. SEC voting privileges in business matters are revoked from your university. And how about this? That sport, you play someone we deem to be ineligible, you lose 50% of your annual operating budget from that sport. Those are the punishments. And that suggests a very, very strong aversion to this from the Southeastern Conference. Now, you may come back and counter to me if it's important to you that these LSU commitments come and play, and you want Daquan Wright at tight end, and you want Xavier Harris at defensive tackle. That's important to you. You might push back and say, well, they'll just take you to court. What are you going to do? And the truth be told, 1 to 3 afternoon radio host in Baton Rouge, Hunt Palmer, with no law degree, I don't really know the answer to your rebuttal. Maybe they can be deemed eligible. Maybe they can get a preliminary injunction. And they are deemed eligible in the eyes of the law. It occurs to me that the conference has the ability to enforce some rules somewhere. Right? Some rules somewhere. I've seen schools incur fines for rushing the field or rushing the court. I've seen coaches serve suspensions. I've seen schools put on probation or eliminated, be restricted from competing in postseason play. If you get caught on an FBI wiretap or you get caught with fraudulent educational paths like North Carolina did, if you get caught providing impermissible benefits, I've seen this happen. So surely there is an ability for the conference to do that to schools. They may not be able to walk into the courtroom and demand that that player is ineligible, but they can say he's ineligible according to us, and if you break that rule, you are a voluntary member of this league. We can pop you. I can't claim it with 100% certainty. I can't. I can't do it. I feel comfortable, maybe not confident, comfortable suggesting that would be the case. And we've run round and round in circles on this thing, but this is the new update based on the time I left you last. And so from here, this is where I'd like to go. Is this worth it for LSU? Of course it's worth it for Xavier Harris and Daquan White to take this to court. Of course, because they're potentially going to make zero from the NFL, potentially get the practice squad limit, and LSU is likely willing to pay them a high six-figure total. I'm not reporting that. That's the going rate for starting level and rotational level veteran players. So, yeah, it's worth it for the players, and the players will pursue it, and their attorneys made that clear yesterday. What about for LSU? Is it worth it to continue to run this out? It goes two paths here. One, on the field, Daquan Wright would be your second tight end. He would catch 30 balls. He would catch 4 touchdowns. He'd be your second tight end. He'd be a fine player. You got Trey'Dez Green. You're okay at tight end. If Trey'Dez Green is hurt, yeah, you'd love to have a backup with that kind of experience. And I understand that he would. It's better to have him on the team than not. But is it a quarterback? No. Is it a first-team All-American? No. Is it a surefire NFL player? Well, we know that's not true because he just got cut. So, a defensive tackle, yeah, I told you earlier this week, if you're able to get a guy that made 55 tackles last year, 9 tackles for loss, 5.5 sacks, and started every game on a college football playoff semifinalist, he's a help to your defensive tackle rotation where you might have true freshmen out there. But, again, is it a quarterback? Is he first-team All-American? Is he a first-round draft choice? No, he's none of those things. So, is it worth it? Well, to me, it's not worth it to test these penalties for sure. 50% of your operating budget out the window for a rotational defensive tackle and a second-team tight end? No. You have defensive tackles. You've got Deuce Geralds and Richard Anderson and Stephylon Green and Malik Blockton and Dominic McKinley. You have defensive tackles. You want to put Lamar Brown down in there? There's 6. Hadn't even gotten to Deshaun Watson. Like, he's better than some of these guys, but you have them. This is not like Will Wade, who, to my knowledge, and that doesn't mean that to his knowledge, to my knowledge, he doesn't even have front court players. You've got a team. You've got a roster. So no. And the second part of it is, what about the time investment in this? This is what I've been asked a lot. I mean, does LSU really need to spend this much time on it? And my answer to that is, I'm not in the football facility. I'm not monitoring Lane Kiffin's cell phone. I'm not monitoring Charlie Weiss's cell phone. I'm not monitoring Blake Baker's cell phone. I don't know what's going on in the meeting rooms over there. But this is my guess. My guess is they're in there getting ready for Clemson. They're in there practicing. They're in there watching film. They're in there with meetings. They're in there setting their depth chart. They're setting the schedule to recruit in the fall. The attorneys are the ones for these players that are handling this. Keep in mind, LSU's not involved in the lawsuits. LSU's involved in recruiting the players if deemed eligible. So I don't think there's a lot of time being spent over there on these two players. I could be wrong. Lane Kiffin could be in his office spending 3 hours a day and missing an offensive meeting chatting with the legal team for Daquan Wright. He could be. It would surprise me. It would surprise me. He probably has a conversation here and there, maybe with Daquan Wright, maybe with the legal representative, maybe with LSU's legal team. But, I don't think they're spending a lot of time on this because there's not anything LSU can really do. If the player's eligible and the conference says it's okay, all right, bring him in. That was the case Friday. The conference had said, we don't really want you to do that, but there weren't any penalties in place, and the injunction declared, hey, you're eligible. Okay, well, then go recruit them. And if they say they want to come, fine. But at this point, if the SEC says these are the punishments and those can hold up, let the legal team go nuts over there. If they're trying to get those guys back into college athletics, that's not any sweat off LSU's back. Go watch Clemson tape. I don't think LSU's spending an inordinate amount of time on this. Now, it could be a distraction if they do get on the team and you have to spend time coaching them up and getting them into the system and taking reps away from somebody. And if the scenario comes up that people have brought to me where if you bring those guys in, you do have to cut two people, but I don't know that to be true. One, the guys aren't here. They're not practicing. And two, nobody's been cut. So right now, I don't have that to react to. I only have what's public. I don't think LSU's spending a lot of time on this unless they're grossly misappropriating their time and doing something that they can't impact. Finally, my take on this. Nobody wants LSU to win more than me. Nobody. I want LSU to win so badly, and I'm going to get in that stadium a week from Saturday and just my heart will be beating 1,000 beats a minute. If this is the moment in time that affects a little bit of change and keeps things between the buoys and creates some real eligibility parameters that need to be adhered to after 6 years of absolute and complete chaos, where sore tonsils get you an extra year and COVID gets you an extra year and this coach got fired so you get an extra year, and now all of a sudden we got guys playing 7th years and 6th years and transferring 6 times and coming back from professional ranks, and he was in a mini camp, he wasn't in an actual training camp, so if we can get some things put on the books, that's going to be fine with me. This is not a Heisman Trophy quarterback they're taking out of LSU's huddle. This is a guy who hasn't been with the team literally ever that may not be able to join. And guess what? We'll all get along with it. Does Lane Kiffin think these guys can help? Obviously. He's said that on the record. Would the team be a little bit better? Perhaps. Did he complete a roster in January and go through spring workouts and get guys in the summer and get to work in fall camp? Yeah. They've got a roster. Most people think it's a top 15 team in the country. I'm not going to lose a ton of sleep over Daquan Wright and Xavier Harris. Those two guys probably are, because there's a lot of money on the table. In the big grand scheme, if this doesn't go LSU's way, it'd be just fine with me. You may disagree. You may put your purple and gold on and say, screw these guys. They're trying to mess with LSU. These guys should be legal, and you may think that. I just don't line up. I see their case. I understand where they're coming from. I understand why a judge would side with them. If the commissioner of the SEC, the commissioner of the Big Ten, the commissioner of the ACC, the Notre Dame president, and the commissioner of the Big 12 say, hey, we're all coming together, these guys are not coming back through that door. Okay, fine. Let's go play some football. Because I've almost had it. I won't think about it at all when I get inside Tiger Stadium a week from Saturday. Not me. That's a personal thing. But right now, it's dominating the storylines, and I'd really rather talk about some ball. Let's talk some recruiting. We'll do it with Sam Spiegelman next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC. They're online at FabryChevrolet.com. That's FabryChevrolet.com. Look, y'all, August is almost over. It's almost over. So if you're looking for a new truck, now's the time to get up Highway 61 in St. Francisville and go see my friends at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. 2026 Chevy Silverado 1500s, 0% APR financing for 5 years, plus no monthly payments for 90 days. That's until August 31st. That's 5 days. Get on by and see them. 2026 GMC Sierras, gorgeous truck. 2.9 APR financing for 72 months, plus an additional $1,500 off and for your allowance. That's now until you got it. August 31st. If you're looking for a pre-owned vehicle, they've got a pre-owned vehicle to match every budget at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. Go check out the entire inventory at FabryChevrolet.com. Go see them in St. Francisville on Highway 61. It's Fabry Chevrolet GMC.
Raising Cane's Texas Toast is a thick slice of bread, garlic buttered spread, grilled to golden perfection, and made to order just for you. Because when you make it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love.
When a capital project moves from planning to execution, downtime isn't an option. Who do you trust to deliver? River Parish Contractors has more than 500 employees, dedicated safety, quality, and project management teams, and 9 full-time estimators backed by a 36,000 square foot automated pipe and structural steel fabrication facility. We can deliver multi-million-dollar industrial construction projects on time and safely. Locally owned and headquartered in South Louisiana. We're River Parish Contractors, and we're built for bigger challenges.
People think it's all about game day. Let's go! But the real work happens in the off season.
Spring practices, early lifts, extra reps.
And we need a healthcare team that works as hard as we do.
At FMOL Health, our lay of the lake, we take care of LSU football year-round.
So we can do what we do best.
We trust the lake.
From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the new Ram 1500 truck on our lot now with $22,000 off MSRP.
Plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles.
If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
People ask why I chose to partner with Parrish. The answer is simple. Trust. Whether you're choosing teammates, business partners, or the people working on your home or business, choose a company you know and trust. Visit parrishbuilt.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Wednesday show is always brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. They're built by Renaissance.com, built by Renaissance.com. Let's talk some recruiting. About to be a busy fall full of football games, visits, commitments, and it'll culminate with National Signing Day coming up in December. Talking about all of it is our guy from Rivals, Sam Spiegelman, national recruiting analyst, joins us now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Sam, thanks for the time. How are you?
Of course. Happy to be here, Hunt. How's everything going?
Everything's okay. Look, we're talking a lot about courtrooms and stuff instead of football, and it's annoying me to an extent, but we're not going to do that here. We're going to talk about some preps and their whereabouts. One that we need to talk about off the top is Jalen Brewster, who's made a little bit of a move here, transferring high schools. What does it mean, if anything?
I think this is going to lock in the fact that Jalen Brewster, who considered trying to enroll early at a couple of these colleges he's considering, this is going to assure him that he will be graduated in the month of December, and he will be playing on Saturdays or beginning the prep to play on Saturdays this spring. He'll be enrolled wherever he finalizes his plans. In January, he'll start his classes. He'll be in the weight room. That's basically the norm for these elite prospects, is graduate early, get on campus in the spring, and try to earn a spot, whether it's starting or of course, in Jalen Brewster's case, in the defensive line rotation. And at Buford, he has that locked in. He should be officially enrolled. I don't know if he's announced it or Buford has, but he is on campus at Buford High School as of this Wednesday, and that is where he will graduate in 4 short months.
All right, does LSU still have a fighting chance in that recruitment, and how wild do you think this fall could be? He's been committed to Texas Tech for a while.
At this point, I'm expecting Jalen Brewster to shut his recruitment down. Of course, in the world that we live in, where NIL is a massive factor for a lot of these upper echelon prospects, I can never say that the door is officially closed for LSU and Jalen Brewster because, listen, if you look at the schools that have tried to make a move in the Jalen Brewster sweepstakes, there was Texas, Ohio State, Texas A&M, SMU, the defending national champs, Indiana, Florida, and ultimately LSU was the team that pushed this as far as it went. Hunt, when we spoke, a month or two ago, there was a point where LSU was probably in thinking that they were going to get this flip done based on the conversations that they had with Brewster and his camp. As his official senior year is now underway, this is very much trending toward the Red Raiders. I think that they are going to lock this in. This is not anything that LSU did wrong. I think it was too much of a hurdle for them to overcome at this stage in the process. You'll have to remember, Jalen committed to Texas Tech in the middle of his junior season. We know that Texas Tech has fantastic NIL ability. Not only do they have outstanding offers for the young man, but they have the coaching staff has recruited the heck out of him, his family. They have fantastic relationships with his representation. Every time a school like LSU or you name it has come close, Texas Tech has been extremely aggressive at slowing down the opposing team's momentum and keeping Brewster on board. And as this decision weighs in the next couple of days or as early as today, I do expect Jalen Brewster to ultimately stick with the Red Raiders.
Let's talk about some guys whose dads I watched play at LSU. One is a 5-star wide receiver in Jalen Adai. It doesn't take a lot for LSU fans to trace that name back pretty quickly to his dad, Joseph. What can you tell us about Jalen?
Yeah, Jalen, he's a 5-star wide receiver, and he's a top prospect in Texas. More specifically, he plays for Shadow Creek High School, which if you're an LSU fan or an LSU recruiting fan, that high school probably rings a bell because LSU has either signed or had commitments from so many really talented prospects from Shadow Creek High School over the years. And this particular year, the Shadow Creek Sharks have not only 5-star wide receiver Jalen Adai, but 2029 athlete BJ LaFell, which should also ring some bells over here in the LSU area. Listen, LSU is one of the favorites to keep Adai's NFL bloodlines, his LSU bloodlines alive. He still has family in South Louisiana. And of course, when your dad is Joseph Adai, you spent a lot of Saturdays in Death Valley before. Now, Jalen is expected, he does not have a date set yet, but is expected to be in Tiger Stadium this fall. George McDonald offered him in the spring along with his teammate BJ LaFell, and they have kept continuing to gain momentum in this recruitment leading into his junior year. You're going to love to hear this, but Coach O in particular has probably been the lead on Jalen Adai. We know that no one knows about keeping family legacies alive better than Coach Ed Orgeron. Listen, LSU is going to have to go up against some stiff competition. This is the number one prospect in Texas, one of the best players in the 2028 class. I think Notre Dame and Miami are off to a really good start with Jalen Adai, but LSU can never be discounted. LSU is probably going to always sign at least 3 or maybe 4 receivers each year under Lane Kiffin and George McDonald. That's what they're aiming to do in 2027. We know that they're hoping to sign at least one more 5-star wide receiver before the end of this year, and they're going to look for 4 next year, and they have some talent in the state, and they also have their eyes on the legacy prospect Jalen Adai. We'll see how this visit to LSU goes this fall.
20 years and about 25 pounds ago, Joe LaFell scored the first touchdown when I was in the student section at LSU against Louisiana Lafayette. It's been a minute, but now his kiddo is on the radar for LSU. Another legacy, Carter St. Junius, 4-star wide receiver, whose dad's been working at LSU for the last decade.
Yeah, LSU started to get involved with Carter also this spring. Obviously, when the coaches were on the road. They were very intentional and specific about where they went. And I think if Carter St. Junius had to make a decision today, and he certainly doesn't, Hunt, I think it would be hard to beat LSU right now. They have a ton of momentum in this recruitment. This is a kid who was originally born in Louisiana, and I think would dream of playing college football Saturdays back in Baton Rouge. Of course, there is also stiff competition for Carter St. Junius. He is a Rivals 300 wide receiver from the state of Texas and in Houston. So schools like SMU and Texas Tech and Texas A&M are fiercely in this recruitment. Schools like Nebraska are involved and others, Arizona State. So it's still early for Carter, but LSU has been circled on his list of visits for several weeks. This has been in the works for a while. And like I mentioned before, they have continued to kick up the attention on Carter St. Junius throughout the summer. After they saw him work out, they fell in love with this kid. He's a multi-sport athlete. He's 6'3", almost 200 pounds. It's going to be on this LSU coaching staff to decide where they go out of state, with obviously 2 blue chip legacy prospects in the Houston area, and of course, plenty of talent in state at that same position at their disposal.
Carter St. Junior's dad, Tasman Mitchell, of course, who played basketball on our Final Four team, another SEC championship team, and has been on the staff for 2 different coaches on the hardwood here in Baton Rouge. This is more of a big picture question as opposed to individual. You can dive into individuals if they come to mind, but a lot of LSU fans looking at the offensive line and want to make sure that position is fortified, being that it kind of withered away under the last staff. I know that LSU's got Eric Wolford and James Craig, 2 really established SEC line coaches on staff. How have you seen that group start to go out and sink their teeth on the recruiting front?
Yeah, James Craig has been there in Baton Rouge. He was a part of, probably most famously, he landed Cardell Thomas back when Cardell Thomas was a 5-star coming out of Southern Lab. And James Craig has a fantastic reputation, not only for that year at LSU or those years at LSU, but his time in the NFL. And Coach Wolford, who used to coach at Alabama, also in Kentucky and across the SEC, he's a name that's getting a lot of buzz with some of the best offensive linemen in the country. This 2027 class, they got a late start and were able to they have to go out of state for offensive linemen in this 2027 class, but they're in the mix for some of the best offensive linemen in the country for 2028. And of course, they're going to go to the portal to restock in the offseason. This is LSU started to turn a corner when their offensive line play started to turn a corner a couple of years ago. And that's going to be the driving force of Lane Kiffin's offense, of course. And under Billy Glasscock, their general manager, they are going to find ready-to-go offensive linemen, as we saw this year, and in particular with Jordan Seaton. And if Jordan Seaton has the year that he's expected to, it's going to, of course, catch the attention of all these blue chip offensive tackles around the country that want to see what this LSU offense looks like in a couple of days. I think Eric Wolford is starting to generate a lot of buzz amongst the high school coaches in Louisiana and of course the prospects. As I mentioned with Jalen Adai and Carter St. Junius, of course Eric Wolford spent a lot of time in schools here in Louisiana, but he's also been on the road in Texas. He's also recruiting some of the best offensive linemen in Georgia and across the Southeast, and that's a great foundation to lean on when you're coaching at LSU and you don't have just Louisiana to lean on for offensive line, a premium position.
It's refreshing to have a more traditional conversation this time of year with a little recruiting and a little bit of football instead of temporary restraining orders. So I appreciate you coming on and doing it. Sam Spiegelman, National Recruiting Analyst with Rivals. We'll catch up again soon, okay?
Talk to you soon, Hunt.
That is Sam Spiegelman. Always appreciate his insights. Jalen Adai, B.J. LaFell. Some legacies, and then Carter St. Junius, obviously Tasman Mitchell's son there. So a lot of guys that are around my age. They're a little bit older than me, but not a lot older than me. A little bit older than me that have kiddos now that are being recruited by the Tigers. No word right now whether or not Keller Palmer is being recruited by LSU. He was seen yesterday in daycare painting, kind of. He was holding a paintbrush, and it was touching the paper. So I don't know if that's going to catch any coaches' attention, but he can't really do anything else. Walk a little bit, but he falls down a lot. So I don't think that's a guy they're interested in quite yet, but a lot of my contemporaries at LSU have kiddos already making waves, and Adai and LaFell, very, very familiar names down here in Baton Rouge. What If Wednesday? We'll get to that coming up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Lifetime Roofing, LifetimeRoofingLA.com, LifetimeRoofingLA.com. It's not just roofs at Lifetime Roofing. They're happy to come in and inspect your roof, to do a repair on your roof, to get you a new roof, like absolutely, it's Lifetime Roofing. But they also do professional installation of gutters. They do professional installation of siding. They do professional installation of windows. So whatever it is on the exterior of your home, whether you've had some damage or you just want to freshen things up, or maybe it's about time to put your home on the market, a move's coming up and you want to make sure it's looking the best that it possibly can, Lifetime Roofing is happy to help you out with all of that. They've got financing options very much available, 0% for 18 months when you go with Lifetime Roofing. Again, replacements, repairs, tune-ups, whatever your need may be. And if you don't know what your need is, let Lifetime Roofing come out and survey the situation. They'll let you know what the best option is for you. It's a Baton Rouge-based company, Louisiana roots, growing team, phenomenal facility just off College Drive. Check them out online at lifetimeroofingla.com. It's Lifetime Roofing. They're online at lifetimeroofingla.com.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith with Locke Meredith Sean Fagan and Associates. We take great pride in educating our clients about their rights. Whether you're injured at work or while you drive, call our office at 272-5555. Knowledge is power, and you should know your rights after an injury.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan of Locke Meredith Sean Fagan and Associates. When insurance companies have been unfair, we've never been afraid to go to trial. Fighting hard to protect your rights, we never settle a case out of convenience. We only settle when it's right for you. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call.
Are you ready for an internet experience that actually keeps up with you? Then you're ready to step into a new kind of reliability with Rev Fiber. When your internet works, the possibilities open up, and suddenly everything feels more connected, just the way it should be. Seamless enough to keep up with every swipe and every click, anywhere you are. So leave the buffering behind. 100% fiber, 0% runaround, where support is still personal. Rev Fiber. Visit revfiber.com.
Bayou Ford has 0% APR with no payments for 90 days and $1,000 down payment assistance on select 2026 Ford models.
Plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles.
If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs. Set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free confidential help now.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Every Hunt Palmer Show brought to you by our friends over at Auctioner. I know a lot of folks looking to make sure their kiddos are ready for this school year, both academically and athletically. Many Auctioner health centers offer both primary care and pediatric services in one location, which makes it easier for families to coordinate care for everyone in the household. If you're looking for a same-day appointment, that availability is at many locations and can help families address unexpected health concerns quickly as children return to school and activities. Extended afternoon hours after school, as well as weekend appointments and selection locations provide added flexibility for busy families balancing school, work, and extracurricular schedules. That's all courtesy of our friends over at Oxford. If you need more tips on helping your family start the school year healthy, safe, and ready to succeed, visit oxford.org/BR. We'll get to What If Wednesday in a second. Adam Schefter with an interesting report says the NFL will provide clarity to clubs later today regarding league rules governing player eligibility. And this is, of course, in reaction to these released and waived cut players that are potentially going to come back to college. It says a player that goes back to college this season will be prohibited from signing with an NFL team this year. So if a player comes back to LSU, comes back to Texas, comes back to UCLA, wherever these things are potentially happening, that player cannot go back to the NFL. Also, a player signed to an NFL contract who is subsequently cut is a free agent, obviously. He may sign with another NFL club, may sign with the CFL. He may return to college, Schefter reports. But a player that player is considered a free agent and will not be subject to a future draft. So the thought that some of these guys could come back and then ramp things up and become a second or first round pick that would make them more of a priority for an NFL team, not the case. So it appears to me that they're shutting the door on this, which is fine. I'm completely fine with that. But if they shut it from both sides, saying, hey, the colleges, if they take you back, they may face steep penalties according to the conferences. And oh, by the way, if you do go back and then you're going to have to sign as an undrafted free agent again. So why not just do that now while you're not hurt? I understand the financial component of going back to college, so maybe it makes sense for some guys that feel like that's their best chance with some earning power in their football life. Just a decision those guys are going to have to make, but feels like the tides are swinging towards guys not entering the college scene once again. That's my sense of it, but we'll see as more information comes available. So What If Wednesday?
Time, space, reality. It's more than a linear path. Where a single choice can branch out into infinite realities. Follow me and ponder the question. What if?
All right, so what if LSU didn't give out number 7 next season?
Be fine with me. I mean, I think it's cool. If the players think it's cool, I think it's cool. I don't spend a lot of time thinking about it. I've written about it a little bit just as content in the summer for our site. It generates some reaction from some people. Some people think it's silly. Some people think it's cool. That we did the whole number thing with Jaden 2 weeks ago. It's a number. And obviously some numbers are attached to players, whether they've been retired or not. But there have been a lot of great players at LSU that have worn 3, that have worn 7, that have worn, the same number. A lot of 5s that have been really good.
A lot of 1s.
So, a lot of 1s. So, if they didn't give out 7 next year, I wouldn't be offended. But if somebody gets 7 and thinks it's a great honor, great. I think that's awesome. We'll talk about it in the next segment.
Now, that's crazy that the Jaden Daniel thing happened a couple weeks ago. It just, LSU just in the headlines every single day. Oh, my goodness. So this is from Twitter. What if NIL and COVID never happened? What would college sports look like today?
Very similar to the way they did before COVID. Now, COVID would have given everybody an extra year.
Yeah.
So you would have had a lot of 5th-year players, and with red shirts, probably 6th-year players. But the impetus for all this change is money. There's some change that is in the conference level because of money. But the change in terms of all this litigation is for money.
Yeah.
Because if you don't get paid to play college football, nobody's going to be scrapping and fighting and clawing through the legal system to get back to it. There's no reason to. You go try to get money doing it with the NFL.
Yeah.
You go try to get money in the NBA. So when you started paying exorbitant amounts of money to student athletes, that opened the door for litigation that kicked all this down. Whether you think the players should absolutely be compensated or you think that a scholarship was fine for 5 decades and is fine now, doesn't matter what side you're on that debate. You cannot debate why all this is happening, and it is the money. So that's if you never introduce name, image, and likeness payments to being legitimized, you would not have all these legal issues for eligibility because guys, they would just move on.
All right, to kind of add on to that, do you think that there would have been like realignment if none of this
Yeah,
COVID and
because
none of that would
that's
happen?
money too. And you always follow the money. This is the kids chasing the money. That was the universities chasing the money. You're chasing money.
All right, so what if LSU flops this year and goes like 6-6?
I will say, man, that was a massively wasted investment. And they'll probably be pretty good next year. Because Lane Kiffin will be back, and Charlie Weiss will probably be back, and Blake Baker will probably be back. And then they just go back into the portal, and they'd probably get a really good team. Like, I do not believe that 1 year is defining in this era where you can turn the roster over so significantly. You go back to 15 years ago, if you hit a point where you ran out of steam, it was hard to get it back because these are the guys you got. Like, you better hope that they either get a lot better or your freshman class was really good on a crappy team and now they're sophomores and they're really good. Well, now you just go get a bunch of juniors and seniors and try it again next year. So, like, there's nothing that could happen this year. Well, I shouldn't say that. That's absolutist. But, like, there's very little that would indicate to me this year that Lane Kiffin can't win football games in the SEC. He just did it for 5 years at Ole Miss. He won 50 games. So if they go 6-6 this year, it's a tough schedule. Maybe, you got a couple injuries, lose 2 overtime games. Like, I don't think they're going 6-6. And I guess we'll cross that bridge if we were to get to it, but we're playing what if right now. It would just tell to me, well, these boosters spent a crap ton of money and it didn't work. Hopefully they've got some for the next team. Yeah.
So what if LSU offensive line turns out to be the best unit in the SEC next year?
If you got the best unit in the SEC this year,
this year,
you're talking about a ground game that punishes people.
Yep.
And a lot of time for Sam Levitt to throw it to a lot of guys that run pretty good and Trey Green. Like they're gonna lead the SEC in scoring. If they've got the best offensive line in the SEC, which by any definition would suggest that they're running the ball effectively and often, and the quarterback's not getting pressured a lot, they're going to light it up. They will. I mean, Levitt had an advantageous opportunity 2 years ago when he had Scadaboo running for 1,700 yards and a first-round wide receiver out there for most of the year in Tyson. And that was lesser defenses he was playing against, but they won a lot of games and he produced a lot of yardage. LSU will be a playoff team if they have the best offensive line in the SEC.
Oh, they're not going 6-6. Whoever wrote that 6-6 one, that's not happening. So what if Bryce Underwood never flipped to Michigan?
I don't think it would have mattered.
Okay, I like this angle.
Because he was not great last year.
He wasn't.
And if you were to put him behind that offensive line with that scheme, well, they're not going to run the ball worth the flip. They're not going to try to run the ball. You're going to have a young quarterback back there with no offensive line. They're banged up, hurt. You can't run the ball. And you're throwing a bunch of screen passes. Like, they're going to lose a bunch of games, and Brian Kelly's going to get fired. And then he probably leaves anyway.
Transfers, yeah.
So it was a deal where we all were up in arms about it because you felt like it was potentially a program-altering thing. And Bryce Underwood may eventually be good, but if he would have been the starting quarterback last year, then you have the same situation. If he was Garrett Nussmeier's backup last year, then he would have been thrust into playing time, and it would have been a bad situation. You would have lost games. I just don't see how that would have changed things because I saw him play last year on a bad team, and it was bad. So it would have been bad last year on that bad team, and everyone would have gotten fired, and he probably transfers. So I think you're right back in square one. I think he got Lane Kiffin. I think he got Sam Levitt. I don't think he got Bryce Underwood. It was a big deal that day, but it ultimately didn't really change the course of anything because that coaching staff ended up getting fired.
Yeah, pretty much because, again, it was a bad team. It wasn't like LSU was a good team, and he came in here, it was going to change something.
Or that he was some, unbelievable freshman that threw for 3,600 yards and 35 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And, you would have had him. Well, you could have changed the offense. Like, no, he didn't do a lot.
So that's it for What If Wednesday.
All right, that's it for What If Wednesday. LSU has named its new number 18, has named its new number 7s, plural. We'll talk about them next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge, swingeasygcbr.com. That's swingeasygcbr.com. Great place to work on your golf game. You might be scratch. It's a great place to work on your golf game if you're a scratch player. You can get in there in a controlled environment. You can see what your club head speed is. You can see what your spin rate is. You can see what the trajectory of your shots. You can see where your club face impacts the golf ball. You can see your carry distance and the trajectory, all that. And it's really helpful. And if you're a beginner, you may not need to know what your club head speed is. But you might need to look at where the ball's going. You might need to play in a controlled environment that doesn't have dead grass somewhere, or the wind blowing, or it rained really hard yesterday, so it's really soggy out there. The golf balls are no good. That's not the case at Swing Easy. You're in a controlled spot. So maybe you don't want all the data, but you just want a controlled environment to play. No matter if you're scratch or a beginner, it's a great place to work on your golf game at Swing Easy Golf Club. They're on Segan at Perkins. Stop on by and just see the facility. Check it out one time. You'll be driving by, go, I've heard talk about that. Let me go see. Go see. You'll be impressed. Swing Easy Golf Club on Segan at Perkins or online. SwingEasyGCBR.com.
Bayou Ford has 0% APR with no payments for 90 days and $1,000 down payment assistance on select 2026 Ford models.
Plus, the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles.
If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Natural gas from Atmos Energy is a gentle warmth that starts your day. The blue flame that turns simple ingredients into traditions. And the comfort of a shower that never gets cold. Natural gas is the energy that brings your home to life by fueling backyard fun, cozy moments, and bringing people together. Natural gas fuels the moments that make a house a home. Atmos Energy, your natural gas company.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs, set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free, confidential help now.
When a capital project moves from planning to execution, downtime isn't an option. Who do you trust to deliver? River Parish Contractors has more than 500 employees, dedicated safety, quality, and project management teams, and 9 full-time estimators backed by a 36,000 square foot automated pipe and structural steel fabrication facility. We can deliver multi-million-dollar industrial construction projects on time and safely. Locally owned and headquartered in South Louisiana. We're River Parish Contractors, and we're built for bigger challenges.
If your office is experiencing performance issues, like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows,
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Gotros Outdoor Power. They're online at GoTrosOnline.com, GoTrosOnline.com. That end of summer clearance sale is coming to an end, so get on by. 2 locations, Gotros Outdoor Power, one on Airline in Baton Rouge, one in Gonzales. That summer clearance sale up to $1,000 off select Gravely, Skag, and Hustler zero-turn mowers, 0% financing available as well. Again, that's up to $1,000 off select Gravely, Skag, and Hustler zero-turn mowers. 0% financing available as well. If you got to maintain that property, want to cut your lawn, need a zero-turn mower, there's nowhere else to go besides Gotros Outdoor Power. They've been in business for 22 years here in Baton Rouge and Gonzales. Gotro family is first class, and they will give you that personal touch that the big box store just can't, whether it's delivering your equipment on a trailer, whether it's the parts delivery. They got the biggest parts inventory in the state. Go by and see them. Airline Highway in Baton Rouge or in Gonzales, or online at GoTrosOnline.com. All right, LSU announced earlier today number 18 and 2 number 7s for this season if you missed it. Braylon Moore, LSU senior center, is going to wear the number 18 patch this year. He'll, of course, have to wear his number 61 as an offensive lineman. Second offensive lineman ever to wear the number 18. Lloyd Cushenberry did on the 2019 National Championship team. So that's a nice bit of synergy there. Last time you had an offensive lineman, it was a center. Your team was pretty good, as I recall, in 2019. But Braylon Moore has been a great representative of LSU and has been great every time we've spoken with him. Came in after a couple seasons starting at Virginia Tech, earned the starting job last year for LSU. Played really well even through injury. He got hurt in the first snap of the second game of the season against Louisiana Tech. Also had a second injury later on in the season, but played very well when given the opportunity. Had a chance to go play in the NFL this past year, decided to stay back at LSU and anchor an offensive line. And I said this a few times. I think it's a very good thing for LSU to have such a mature player in the middle of this offensive line, to have such a leader in the middle of this offensive line, because we know that LSU wants to go really fast. And so you don't want to have a center that's new, that's unsure of himself when you're trying to move that tempo really quickly when your offense kind of gets something going. You want a guy that's been there. He's a 3-year starter in the Power 4 leagues, and that understands protections, that understands the offense, and can process things quickly to get things moving. So I think Braylon Moore makes a lot of sense to number 18. A lot of folks thought it would be Bo Bordelon. A lot of folks thought it would be Whit Weeks. Braylon Moore is the only recipient of number 18 this year. He'll wear the patch while he wears number 61 on his actual uniform. Number 7 was announced just about an hour later after 18 was announced. Two guys we talked to at SEC Media Days in Tampa back in July, Trey'Dez Green and Whit Weeks. Whit Weeks is now a 4th-year player at LSU and 2 years removed from being an all-SEC player, second in the SEC with 124 tackles. That year was 9th nationally, the 8th most tackles in the history of LSU in a single season for Whit Weeks a couple of years ago. And as you know, just couldn't stay on the field last year. Was hobbled for 3 or 4 games, missed 5 games last year, but he comes back unexpectedly, in my opinion, to anchor LSU's defense once again, and is a heck of a playmaker, and they throw number 7 on him, which I think is a great honor. Matt Moscona asked Whit Weeks if he would wear number 18 back in media days, and Whit said it would be a great honor, but like he kind of thought that maybe Bo Bordelon deserved that honor, and he kind of liked 40, but they said, hey, you want to wear 7, and Whit Weeks was quick to put that number on as a playmaker on the defensive side of the football, and LSU certainly hopes that he is making plays and then also getting up the field and making plays in the backfield as well. Trey'Dez Green, that's a playmaker. If you're talking about number 7 being there for playmakers, Trey'Dez Green is certainly that. He has already set the LSU tight end receiving record for touchdowns last year. Set for career last year, set the single season record for touchdowns as a tight end. Was just unguardable. It started in the Clemson game last year. I was doing a Clemson radio hit about 2 weeks ago, and I said the name Trey'Dez Green. And they're like, oh, I don't want to hear that, because obviously it was a low-scoring game. The first touchdown LSU scored, Trey'Dez set up by drawing a pass interference call on a jump ball, and then the go-ahead touchdown in the fourth quarter was another jump ball to Trey'Dez Green, and they just never really stopped going to that play. They had very little success doing anything against Texas A&M for the majority of that game, and they did score a big touchdown to Trey'Dez on the jump ball. He's as dynamic a playmaker as LSU has on that roster. So for him to get that number is an awesome thing. Those two guys are good friends. Those two guys were fantastic representatives of LSU in Tampa at SEC Media Days, and they're really good players. And that's not a guy that you're betting on to come here. Whit Weeks has done it as an All-American. Trey'Dez Green has done it as an all-conference player, and both guys have gotten a lot of preseason recognition this year, and for a good reason. They're two of the best players in the Southeastern Conference at their respective positions. So Whit Weeks will wear number 40, and Whit Weeks will wear number 7. Trey'Dez Green will wear number 7, and Braylon Moore will wear number 18 for LSU. Some guys that have been in this program now through a coaching change, that decided to come back, that had options to go and either move on to the NFL or get lucrative deals on the open market in quote-unquote free agency in the transfer portal, and decided to stay at LSU when they didn't have to do that. And so that's a great representation of the school, and an awesome honor for those guys who are going to be huge parts of what the Tigers are going to do on both sides of the ball this year. Braylon Moore is going to anchor an offensive line that's got to get a ground game going. Trey'Dez Green is really your number 1 pass-catching option for LSU this year, and Whit Weeks has a chance to be among the most productive tacklers in the SEC. He's going to have to compete with TJ Daugherty and Devon Keys to make those tackles, and those guys are going to make a ton, and so is Ty Benefield. But Whit Weeks will be around and make a ton of tackles, and it's great to be out at practice. Honestly, we're not anymore, but it was great to be at practice this fall camp and to see Whit Weeks at full speed, going through the drills, sparking at his guys. It was tough to see him in the spring standing there in flip-flops and watching guys. He's meant to be out on the field, and he will be. So for LSU, 118, Braylon Moore, 2 7s, Whit Weeks, and Tradez Green. So that's your number assignments for this year, beyond the retirement assignments, which we got 2 weeks ago. Never a dull moment around here in Baton Rouge, is there? I guess that's what keeps us in business, I guess. Our Wednesday shows are brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. They're at line at builtbyrenaissance.com, builtbyrenaissance.com. Look, if you're looking for the pool of your dreams, contact Joey Blanchard. Always tell you the best way to get to Joey is just shoot him a text, 225-252-7745. That's 225-252-7745. Say, Joey, we're back in school. Missed this summer. It was a scorcher. Wish I had that pool of my dreams. Let's get it ready for next summer. You can do it at Renaissance Homes and Pools. If you don't text Joey, just reach out at builtbyrenaissance.com. I appreciate Sam Spiegelman talking some recruiting. If you want that, you can find it on demand at Hunt on LSU. Also talked a little bit about the ongoing court cases, as we are prone to do. We'll take a time out. We'll pause for national headlines. We'll hear some sound from Kellen Moore, and we'll talk some college football with J.D. Piquel in 35 minutes. Wednesday edition, Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. You may have been thinking for months, maybe for years, about remodeling that bathroom, whether it's upstairs that you don't use or a guest room tucked away that doesn't get the use that it once did, or maybe it was a kiddo's room that's moved out of the house, and you're thinking, well, we're having a family gathering for Thanksgiving. We're having a family gathering for Christmas. It's probably time to make sure that bathroom's up to date, that it's functional, that it looks nice, and it's ready for holidays when we host a lot of people. Well, now's the time to think about that. Don't think about that after Halloween and try to rush that job through to get it ready for that family gathering for Thanksgiving. Call David Duvall at One Bath and Closets, or check him out online at onebathandclosets.com and get that process started with that free consultation, the discussion with David, to see what they can do for you in that bathroom. It's David Duvall, One Bath and Closets. You can find him online at onebathandclosets.com.
Lock Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates has won for our clients over $175 million over the decades, but our greatest success is our clients who have chosen and trusted us to help them. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call. You've got nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan. If you get injured, you could be staring at medical bills, repair costs, and lost income. Life can be turned upside down. At Lock Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, we'll work to turn your world right side up. Hire us, and like thousands of our clients, you'll be glad you did.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Who bears the standard? Who sets the bar? It's not those satisfied by low-hanging fruit or by taking it easy. Now the standard is set by the best of us, by those who work hard. Dig deeper. Give more. At Sunshine, we're proud to provide John Deere products that work hard for you, the standard bearers. Find the dealer nearest you at sunequip.com.
As a business owner, you're always focused on how you can improve the bottom line. Well, when was the last time you shopped your insurance coverage? Insurance Network of Louisiana can help. If you're a business owner, let my friends at Insurance Network of Louisiana see if they can find you better coverage for less money. They always offer exceptional customer service and partner with only the best providers. So check them out online today at lainsurance.net.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the new Ram 1500 truck on our lot now with $22,000 off MSRP.
Plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles.
If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
I've been in banking for over 35 years. I usually start about 7:30 in the morning, and I usually leave somewhere around 5, or if customers need me to meet them at their house or their business places, I don't mind going after hours. I have done churches, subdivisions, retail centers, hospitals, and nursing homes. And that's why we chose to live in this community, because of the values First American Bank has, that I can serve my community and my customers.
Every Raising Cane's chicken finger is marinated, battered by hand, and cooked to order to perfection. We don't have heat lamps, because when you make it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. ACC athletic directors met today, and there's momentum for the ACC to join the Big Ten and SEC in banning NFL players from joining rosters at their schools, reports ESPN's Pete Thamel. Still a few more steps before that happens, though. The goal is for the ACC board to meet and vote in the next 24 hours. This week's actions by the conferences is about one thing, according to ESPN football analyst Louis Riddick.
Keeping it fair for kids who are 17, 18, 19 years old and playing college football, and having them not play against guys who are 24, 25, 26 years old. That's the kind of thing that really starts to bother me, is when you have older guys who are physically more developed at 24, 25, and 26 playing against guys who are true freshmen, 19 and 20 years old.
NFL Falcons quarterback Michael Penix Jr., continuing to make his way back from a torn ACL, will not play in Friday's preseason finale. Tua Tagovailoa will start. Cooper Rush, Jack Strand will get reps afterwards. Penix Jr. just returned to full practices on Monday. Giants receiver Calvin Austin III out the entire upcoming season with a torn ACL in his right knee.
Hey, it's Michelle Smallman, and coming up Thursday, we wrap up our two-a-days with the Patriots. Was last year's Super Bowl appearance a sign of things to come for them, or just a one-year wonder? It's on Sportsman, like 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
This is a catastrophe.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
That's what I wished for when I blew out my candle.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
The floor is yours.
Hour 2. Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, officially working towards the weekend. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Fast moving first hour. Appreciate Sam Spiegelman for being with us, talking some recruiting. JD Pickell returns to the show. First time since, I guess, SEC Media Days when we chatted with JD, but he's going to be with us every week moving forward during the season. He'll be here at the bottom of hour number 2, 30 minutes from now. Talk about a little bit of the national storylines around college football, but I'm more interested in talking about actual ball on the field. So we're going to do that with JD coming up in 30 minutes. Let's talk Saints for the first time today. Saints and Cowboys will battle at 7 o'clock on Friday night from Arlington inside AT&T Stadium to conclude both teams' preseason slate. So that's coming up rather quickly as we're now into Wednesday afternoon. Kellen Moore met with the media earlier this week and addressed a few topics. I want to start with the personnel that the Saints have looked at. We've given our opinion on it, but I want to hear from Kellen Moore on it. So why would you go bring in a kicker in Daniel Carlson? I feel like I know the answer, but let Kellen tell me.
Yeah, just Daniel's a really talented kicker. He's had a lot of success in this league, and feel like there's worthy opportunities there for a competition. Get him involved here. We'll anticipate trying to kick here in 2 days on Wednesday, and we'll go from there.
That was an incredibly diplomatic answer. Well said. Where he talks about, hey, look, there's an opportunity there. Yeah. That's a nice way of saying the two guys we had in here can't split the uprights from 40 yards away. We got to find someone who can split the uprights from 40 yards away. Carlson, you've been doing it for a while. Get in there. And I think you're going to see Daniel Carlson kick in the preseason game coming up on Friday, and I think you're going to see Carlson win that job. We talked to Sharif Ishak about it yesterday. We'll talk to Luke Johnson about it tomorrow. I just don't see how that could possibly go another way. There is too much negative in the track record for the other two guys not to go and make a change there. Now, on the flip side, this is Kellen Moore talking about bringing in Zamir White. This is not necessarily due to poor performance. The Saints running backs have actually made some plays in the preseason, but none of them can stay healthy. outside of Achin, who they're treating with kid gloves. So they got to go get somebody, and they traded Debo Jones for Zamir White. Why?
I think good vertical one-slash runner. I think from a zone standpoint, he'll transition really well here. What he was being asked to do in San Francisco will transition well here, and so I feel like it'll give him an opportunity to compete on Friday, and it'll be good.
Good. Get him out there on Friday. Let's see what he's got. I realize everyone's saying don't play any running backs on Friday. That's not really realistic. So get somebody in there and see if you can get some reps and get ready to go for 2 weeks from that Sunday when you open the season in Detroit. So nothing earth-shattering there from Kellen Moore, but hearing from him. Now, this is the question I was most interested in hearing, and the answer was rather short. Are you going to play some starters in this last preseason game to get some reps?
We're going to work through it. Haven't made a total decision yet. So, today was kind of a day to kind of rejuvenate these guys a little bit after a really good week, and then we'll kind of see where we're at tomorrow.
I was curious to hear him say really good week in California. And it may have been a really good week that ended with a complete dud on television. That's completely within the realm of possibility. But I do find some humor in Kellen Moore saying we're going to work through it when it comes to getting some guys reps in Friday's game. Like I feel like that decision is probably made early in the week, right? But he's just not interested at all in divulging that to the media as public information, which is completely fine. But it does just allow us to run rampant with speculation and jabber back and forth about what they will or won't do, because he just doesn't say anything far more often than he does. Now, this is the longest bite of the day, and it transitions away from what the Saints are getting done this week into the bigger picture down here in this market, which deals with a former Saints player and LSU, and then the issue at whole, which is guys signing with professional teams and then going back to the college ranks. And Kellen Moore gave his longest answer at the press conference on that process.
I just think it's unfortunate. There's no regulation to anything right now. Obviously, my brother coaches college football, so I get to kind of follow closely from a fan perspective, just watching everything that college football is going through. And so, I think it's a balancing act. Obviously, you want as many opportunities for all these guys. At the same time, there's kids that just work their tail off all offseason and all season long, and they have to make decisions on their roster now because of added players. And so I think there's a challenging balancing act of this, and hopefully there can be some leadership and some regulations developed here shortly.
For those unaware, Kellen Moore's brother Kirby is the head coach at Washington State. So while it may come as a little bit of a surprise that Kellen Moore kind of knows what's going on down here when you're so immersed in what you're doing in the National Football League and they don't have time to worry about the chaos that's going on below them, he is, because his brother is dealing with all of that. And so, yeah, I think there are a lot of people that have brought that point up that, hey, when guys get cut because you're bringing players back to the college ranks, that's a real bummer. I would react to that when I see it. I've been asked that question no fewer than 10 times. What about the guys that get cut? What about the guys that get cut? Well, I haven't seen anyone get cut. So I'm not telling you at all that it's not happening or that it hasn't happened or that it's not going to happen, but I haven't seen that yet. And if that were to happen, yeah, that's a crummy situation, but it's part of the deal where, I don't sympathize too much with these guys that signed revenue sharing agreements that then wanted to breach them and then are fighting back about the payments. Like, get an attorney involved. These are 6-figure, 7-figure at points athletes. Tough stuff happens when you're dealing with that. There are things that go on. So again, I'll react to that if and when it does happen, but it hasn't to this point. But of course, the headliner of the marriage between the Saints and LSU in this instance is Xavier Harris, who was signed as a UDFA by the Saints and then released in early August. He's a guy that dealt with a foot injury, had a procedure done before the draft combine, and had a good senior season at Ole Miss, but then the Saints decided to move on from. And Kellen Moore talked about their experience with Xavier Harris, and I didn't think we were going to get a lot, and we didn't.
Yeah, obviously we were in a unique situation with him. He was coming off an injury, and so he never made it to the field with us. We spent some time with him, and obviously made a transaction that we felt like we needed to make.
I really don't laugh because Xavier Harris got cut. Like, that's not. I laugh at Kellen Moore's answers sometimes. It's like, yeah, we made a transaction. We just felt best. Like, we got the guy. He couldn't practice. He was hurt. We had to move on. I got it. I got you, Kellen. But yeah, I think a good week for New Orleans, a short week for New Orleans, probably involves some lower lower. That's a really poor way to say this because nothing came to me. Lower physicality practices for New Orleans after a really physical week last week with 2 joint practices and a preseason game. You would figure with a shorter week with a Friday game, you would take it easier on a lot of those guys and make sure that they know where to be and put some guys that are fighting for a roster spot on the practice squad or for other teams an opportunity to go out there relatively fresh on Friday. But based on what Kellen Moore said in his press conference about players playing in this game against Dallas, it sounds unlikely. I think if the plan was to do that, he would have known early in the week, and I don't think would have withheld that from the media. I get some coaches being secret about injuries and starting players when the regular season comes at any level. In the preseason week 3, like, what are we trying to hide from people here? We're going to go. We're going to do what is best for our organization, and you can tell people that. So nothing. Not too much meat on the bone there from Kellen, but I do think an important week for Saints to get a little healthier if possible, to get out there against Dallas, get a look at some guys, and then obviously when Monday rolls around, it's time to cut that roster down, time to assemble that practice squad, and time to push off the dock with the guys that you're going to bring into the regular season and let go of that roughly 40 guys that you move on without. So we'll see how that all shakes out over the course of the next 5 days with the Saints, who will travel to Arlington and play the Cowboys on Friday night. We're off and running here in hour number 2 on this Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Come back and talk some Tigers next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
First American Bank and Trust, FABT.com. That's FABT.com. First American Bank and Trust. 116 years. First American Bank and Trust has been serving the people of Southeast Louisiana. It's important to them to do that. And you know that when you bank with First American Bank and Trust and you make that phone call to your bank, you get someone in South Louisiana. You get someone who you go to church with. You get someone who you see out at the Little League field. You get someone who is part of your community. You're not getting a call center somewhere on the West Coast or in the Northeast. And the decisions that are made on personal loans, on commercial loans by First American Bank and Trust are made locally. They impact the community. If you want to do business with a community bank, and that doesn't mean small bank, 25 locations, they've got your resources. Call First American Bank and Trust. Stop by one of their 25 locations in Southeast Louisiana or check them out online at FABT.com. It's First American Bank and Trust.
Every ounce of Raising Cane's lemonade has been hand-squeezed that day from fresh lemons before being served over our signature crushed ice. Because when you make it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
Natural gas from Atmos Energy is a gentle warmth that starts your day. The blue flame that turns simple ingredients into traditions. And the comfort of a shower that never gets cold. Natural gas is the energy that brings your home to life by fueling backyard fun, cozy moments, and bringing people together. Natural gas fuels the moments that make a house a home. Atmos Energy, your natural gas company.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Really excited for what's coming up a week from tomorrow, Thursday, September the 3rd. Gordy Rush and myself going to be hanging out at Country Club of Louisiana for the tailgate kickoff for the St. George Chamber. It's brought to you by Immense. They bring you our Tuesday shows each and every week. And doors open at 5. The evening runs through 7 o'clock. Gordy and myself going to be talking some LSU football with some members of the Chamber. And you can enjoy some tailgate bites, drinks, great company, and a purple and gold atmosphere. You don't have to be a member to come. Admission's $25 for members, $35 for non-members. If you'd like to sponsor, you can check out, you can go to Monica at stgeorgechamber.la. We'd love to see you Thursday, September the 3rd, 5 to 7 from Country Club of Louisiana, an LSU tailgate kickoff presented by Immense, who brings you, again, my Tuesday shows each and every week. This segment, I wanted to just kind of give my personal feeling on vibe check is the wrong word here, but it's just based on past performance and then just some things I've gleaned along the way and how I feel about this football team, this LSU football team. Jacob Hester had a chance to go out to practice yesterday, and he talked about it on OTB this morning. And he talked about how efficient things were running, how everyone was busy, how the staff was involved and engaged, even as big as it was. That just meant that they were dealing with fewer players individually and could be more engaged. The tempo was up offensively and defensively. The coaches were intense. And he and Matt Flynn spoke candidly on their show this morning. This is not some private conversation in the hallway. It's on their show this morning that they went to practice last year and kind of walked out of there and went, not sure about that. And Jake went as far as to draw parallels to the NFL organizations he just toured. If you missed this in the mornings, Jake traveled the country for SiriusXM, where he does his afternoon show for the NFL, and he went to a bunch, over a dozen NFL training camps. And he saw how they practiced. And he saw some of the great organizations, and he saw some of the ones that you kind of look up in December, and they're looking at the number 1 draft pick. And you could tell who's running the show the right way, who's got things in line, in order, and moving like a finely oiled machine, and who doesn't. And I don't know if Sam Levitt's going to be awesome. I don't know if you've got a true number 1 tailback. I'm not confident Malik Neighbors or Jamar Chase is on this team. I don't know if playing 2 defensive tackles who are true freshmen is the best way to win a championship. I'm not 100% certain. You've got enough depth at cornerback. There are some concerns that I have on this team. There are. That's the case with most teams around the country. And they may rear their ugly head, and LSU may go 7-5, they may go 8-4. But beyond all that, I've watched Lane Kiffin coach. I've watched his offenses hum at Alabama, at Florida Atlantic, at Ole Miss. It doesn't take a long time for them to hum. They hum pretty quickly. And I've watched Charlie Weiss call plays against Kirby Smart's defense and dice it up beautifully in the Superdome. And I think those two guys know what they're doing. I think they're going to score some points. And I watched Blake Baker inherit the worst defense I've ever seen. atrocious. And he showed up and he made them competent. They weren't great in 2024. They weren't great, but they were competent. And then last year, they took another step up to good. It was a good defense. It wasn't a great defense. It wasn't an elite defense. The guys were in the right place more often than not. They didn't bust a ton of coverages. They had trouble dealing with Diego Pavia in basically a triple option, and they can't figure Marcel Reed out. Everybody else in November can. He can't do anything against anybody in November except LSU. But he has against LSU. But beyond those two games, they were excellent against Clemson. They were excellent against Alabama. They were excellent against Oklahoma. They were excellent against Florida. There were a lot of games where they played really well. They wobbled a little bit in the second half against Arkansas, but they were good for the first half of that game. They didn't have any help from the offense at all. And so I look at Blake Baker's defense, and I go, okay, he's got veterans everywhere but defensive tackle. He's got some NFL talent, Benefield, Pickett, Weeks, Uman Mielen. And I think that's going to be a top half of the SEC defense. And to look at Lane Kiffin's track record, where he's led the SEC in rushing touchdowns last year, led the SEC in rushing 3 years ago, led the SEC in passing 2 years ago, did it with Corral, did it with Dart, did it with Chambliss, did it with Judkins, did it with Lacey. The coaching staff on this team helps me deal with what I perceive to be some potential concerns. And I thought that just knowing their track record. I thought that knowing Lane Kiffin's track record, knowing Charlie Weiss's track record, knowing Kevin Smith's with them, and George McDonald's with them, and Joe Cox is with them. I thought that knowing the track record. I thought that knowing Blake Baker's track record. Eli Drinkwitz really liked him at Missouri. Brian Kelly really liked him at LSU. Lane Kiffin played against him twice. Actually, more than that, he played against him at Missouri as well, but played against him at LSU twice and thought enough of him to keep him around. And I thought about the track record of those guys. And then you add in Corey Raymond. Jake Olson got a lot out of his safeties last year. Kevin Peoples has a great track record. You bring Ed Ogeron in. Like, those are some good ancillary pieces. And then you take the track record of those offensive coaches and those defensive coaches. And then you hear what Jacob had to say about yesterday at practice. And then he compared it to last year. And as I'm driving my car this morning, I'm dropping the kids off at school and I'm listening to those guys, I'm going, yeah, like I think based on what I've seen on TV, this. But Jacob just went and watched the Chiefs practice. He just went and watched the Eagles practice and the Steelers practice and the Seahawks practice and the Broncos practice. And then he comes back and he's seen LSU practice previously and he's seen this. He thinks it's pretty good. I got 9 days before I'm making a pick on LSU and Clemson. But the vibes in Clemson stink. There was a story out on 3 today talking about how that quarterback race that they thought Vizina had won it, maybe the reports coming out, not publicly, but through the grapevine of that things haven't been great in their scrimmages and may not be humming in a Chad Morris offense. Shocker. Chad Morris hasn't called an offense competently in like 6 years. They lost their biggest playmakers on defense. They did not grab a top 100 transfer. And it's like, it feels like things are crumbling under Dabo, where you're trying to scramble and get an offensive coordinator situation fixed. And do you have the right guy defensively to come in and make it work? And then you're not supplementing things out of the transfer portal. And it's like, everything seems to be kind of rocky in Clemson. And at LSU, yeah, everyone hates LSU, and everybody thinks it's ridiculous that they're going into the courtroom. But that has nothing to do with what's going on the practice field. And I just get the sense in watching those coaches over the years and listening to Jake, this team is going to be prepared to play. They may not be good enough to beat Alabama and Texas at home back-to-back. They may not be good enough to go on the road at Ole Miss in that environment and win that game. They may not be able to go to Auburn and to Tennessee and sweet. Like, it's a landmine-filled schedule, right? We got that. But there's a confidence that I'm gathering that comes from having a head coach that knows what he's doing, having an offensive coordinator who everybody that's worked with thinks is a star, and having a defensive coordinator who's got 2 feet on the ground here in Baton Rouge and has steadily improved his unit since he got here and inherited a flaming dumpster fire doused in grease. I think there's just something to that gives me a little bit more comfort in a roster that was cobbled together quickly and expensively, that has to get a lot of guys up to speed in a different system or with different guys quickly, has massive expectations and plays 3 of its first 4 games in very, very, very intense environments. That's a heavy, heavy calling. But I do think LSU's coaching staff is really good. And I think there was a point last year where you looked up and went, is that position group getting coached right? Is that coordinator doing his job? Is that coach as locked in as he needs to be? I don't have the answers to those questions, by the way. You may roll your eyes and go, yes, you do. I don't know that. I'm not there. But I will tell you this. I'm not trading the guys they got in the building today for the guys they had in the building this time last year. No thanks. That's obvious, but deserves to be said. That practice report that Hester gave this morning kind of fired me up, and it had nothing to do with what player was running with the running with the ones, what player was running with the twos, what player made this big play. He didn't say any of that because it was not an open practice. He was there because they were giving out number 18, and he wanted to be there. And he was there with Benny Logan, and he was there with Richard Dixon, and I didn't see who else was in the picture, but like he was there as a guest to help bestow the number 18 on Braylon Moore. But he saw some stuff he really liked, and I trust Jacob as a football guy unbelievably. That's a comforting feeling down here in Baton Rouge. It may be obvious to you, but I spend a lot of time thinking about both sides of this coin, about the things I feel great about and the things I don't feel good about. And I told y'all over the years things I didn't feel great about. I did not like the offensive line last year. Year before that, I didn't think LSU could cover. Didn't think LSU could run the ball. And those things turned out to be true. I have my concerns about LSU stopping the run with freshman D tackles. I have my concerns about an injury at cornerback or whether or not Levitt is a dynamic playmaker that can compete to win the SEC. The guys they got on the headsets, I don't have a lot of questions about that. LSU's got that part covered for right now. We'll see how long you got Blake Baker here. We'll see how long you got Charlie Weiss here. We'll see how long you have Lane Kiffin here, quite honestly. But I feel pretty good about that brain trust as long as they are here. And they're here right now, and they'll be here for Clemson. So off we go. All right, let's take a time out. When we come back, J.D. Piquel talking National College Football storylines. That is next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC, FabryChevrolet.com, FabryChevrolet.com. They're on Highway 61 in St. Francisville. The website is so user-friendly, y'all. It's part of the customer service experience. They take it very seriously in person when you go see them in St. Francisville, and they take it very seriously when you're online. So if you want a pre-owned vehicle, search by pre-owned. Then sort by make and model if you know which type of vehicle you want. Search by price if that's the main thing to you. Search by SUV or sedan. Search by mileage. It's all right there. And if you want to toggle 3 different ones, you can find the cars that meet your criteria. If you want a new vehicle, they got them. Incredible deals on trucks. GSC Sierras, Chevy Silverados. Awesome, awesome deals up until August 1st. So you need to, sorry, not August 1st because you'd have missed that. Up until September 1st. That's until August 31st, as it were, on Highway 61 in St. Francisville. Fabry Chevrolet GMC, online at FabryChevrolet.com.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product's always customer satisfaction. Come visit us at ReliefWindows.com. By the way, we do shutters too.
Bayou Ford has 0% APR with no payments for 90 days and $1,000 down payment assistance on select 2026 Ford models.
Plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles.
If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
My name is Mike Krumholt, and I've been with First American Bank for 4 years. What makes First American Bank special is we're able to offer all the products and services that any other big bank can offer. What sets us apart is being able to give that small town feel that someone can pick up the phone and they can talk to someone or stop by the branch and get excellent customer service.
When a capital project moves from planning to execution, downtime isn't an option. Who do you trust to deliver? River Parish Contractors has more than 500 employees, dedicated safety, quality, and project management teams, and 9 full-time estimators backed by a 36,000 square foot automated pipe and structural steel fabrication facility. We can deliver multi-million-dollar industrial construction projects on time and safely. Locally owned and headquartered in South Louisiana. We're River Parish Contractors, and we're built for bigger challenges.
As a business owner, you're always focused on how you can improve the bottom.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Wednesday shows all are brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. They're online at builtbyrenaissance.com. That's builtbyrenaissance.com. On Wednesdays, during football season, we talk to our guy, J.D. Piquel, host of the Hard Count on 3, and it is football season. There is meaningful football being played this Saturday. We're not talking about it a lot around these parts because we got to talk about injunctions and temporary restraining orders and all those types of things. But there is football, and we're going to talk about it now. J.D. Piquel joins us on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. How we doing, boss?
Dude, we made it. We made it. Whenever you get that Hunt Palmer text, hey, you ready to jump on the air today? You have no idea the caffeine that is for my soul and my cerebellum, okay? I'm glad to be on the air with you. This is awesome. Let's talk some ball, man.
I can't bury our lead here. I know that you've been keeping up with all that's going on with players bouncing back and forth between training camps and potentially college campuses. Do you have an overarching thought on the whole thing?
I wish I didn't. I wish I could just say, oh, I can't believe this is happening. There's no way it's going to happen, right? Like, well, I'm sure the NCAA and all their wisdom and power will step in and do the right thing. I'm scared. I'm scared, Hunt. I'm scared that this is going to be a thing that happens in reality. I'm scared that we're going to have NFL players going back and forth between college football. I think my biggest thing with all of this is we are telling ourselves, hey, it's a one-time thing. Like the whole 5-for-5 situation will sort itself out. This won't happen again in the future. One-time thing that sucks if we got guys that play in preseason games to come back to college football. But if it happens, it happens. Here we go. I don't think that's the reality. I think it's classic. If you give a mouse a cookie, he's going to want some milk. If you give him some milk, he's going to want a bedtime. I think we're moving towards this world where this becomes Pandora's box, and you open it up. There's more in there than just this nonsense of NFL players going back to college football.
It's hard to stop that train, obviously. You don't feel as though there's any teeth in these conferences saying they're going to suspend coaches for half a season and cut your budget in half. You're fearing they can't enforce that. They'll just get sued and lose?
I'm fearing that, yeah, precisely. Now, I do think as we get further into this, I'm glad that most people are aligned with the common sense idea, hey, this probably shouldn't happen. Like, I feel good about that, but I mean, what do they say, Hunt? Hurt people hurt people. You know, like we've been hurt too many. I mean, shoot, Brendan Sorsby didn't play college football, not because the NCAA did anything, not because the Big 12 stepped in and flexed their muscle. Like, Brendan Sorsby didn't play college football this year because of bullying, because the Big 12 was going to say, hey, you can't play in our conference title game. But like, there was nobody actually able to do anything to keep him from playing college ball. So I say all that to say, if that's possible, if we're not able to draw the line there with like paperwork, I don't have a ton of faith that we're going to be able to draw the line here.
It's an intimidating thing. It's a litigious society we have here. We'll see kind of how it shakes out, and certainly if LSU will be impacted one way or another. Let's talk about actual football because they're going to play at Week 0 this weekend. North Carolina and TCU from Dublin. I admittedly don't know a lot about these teams. I know who North Carolina's coach is. That's about the extent of what I got. What can you help me with, and how do you see it going?
Yeah, Billy Edwards Jr. is going to be their starter. He was on Wisconsin's roster last year, hurt for the majority of it. Pretty good 2024 at Maryland, like completed 70% of his passes, like just over 250 a game through this. Like a good player, productive player. I don't know about you, Hunt. I'm a big smells guy. Like if things don't smell right to me, I usually keep my distance. You can tell if some fish has gone bad by how it smells. You can tell if someone takes care of themselves and brushes their teeth by how they smell. I haven't liked the way North Carolina smells till Bill Belichick took that job.
Yeah.
Dude. So for those reasons, I'm staying away from that aroma. Harvard transfer Jaden Craig, at the very least, smart dude playing quarterback for you. I think TCU gets it done. I don't know if it's quite as lopsided as it was last year, but I do think TCU wins, and I'll go ahead and say they cover that number of 7.5.
I don't care about the 39.5 with USC and San Jose State, but I am curious your thoughts on Lincoln Riley's program. He seems to be talking confidently out there. They've been under the radar for a couple of years since he took that job, and really since they beat LSU. What do you feel about USC this season, not necessarily on Saturday?
I think they're a playoff team. I think they finally now have a roster in place to go compete for the college football playoff. I think they brought back enough experience to be a playoff team. And it's funny, like, I know Lincoln Riley had that quote of, well, now the playoff window is open, like it took some time. It wasn't a time thing for USC in their playoff window. It was a internal thing, an infrastructure thing at USC. I think having Jen Cohen and Chad Bowden working together, the AD and GM out there, you've seen that difference. I think the new strength coach they have has changed that culture. I think we'll see that difference. So it wasn't a time thing for the playoff window, but now they have done the proper things from an input perspective to get a playoff level output. So I think USC is a playoff team. I think we're gonna see glimpses of how good that roster is here against San Jose State this first week of the college football season.
Same type of question with Florida State. Obviously, very different vibes around that program. Mike Norvell still hanging around, even though they haven't been very good, again, since they beat LSU and Jordan Travis left. How are we feeling about Florida State? We know they got a big non-conference game beyond that with Alabama, but what do we think about a game against New Mexico State?
If Florida State doesn't beat the brakes off New Mexico State, Hunt, we're going to have a different conversation next time I'm on here.
Yep.
I think they should. I think they will. At large for Florida State, though, I don't feel a ton of pity. Like, I think a lot of the times people are a product of their decisions, and the great part about, society is you have free will. I feel a lot of pity for Florida State fans, man. Like, you just talk to a Florida State fan, they don't have the same color in their face. There's no light in their eyes. Just apathy. It's like, dude, what happened to you? Like, it's like your friend that graduated with honors from high school. They're working at Walmart. It's like, dude, you had you had so much going for you. You beat that Malik Neighbors, Jaden Daniels team. Like, you had the whole world in front of you, and now you're bagging my groceries here. Like, what's going on? So I hate that for them. I feel pity for them. I know it's a big buyout number, but like, if you're serious about winning at the highest level, like, you pay big buyout numbers. See LSU, see Penn State. So it is what it is. I think Mike Norvell's probably a better coach than like he is given credit for now these last couple of years. I think the things in place at Florida State on the roster building side, not excusing Mike Norvell, have been nowhere near good enough. So apathy is a sad thing to see in Tallahassee.
All right, let's go big picture. Who's your Big Ten champion this year?
I got the who do I have winning the Big Ten? I have Ohio State winning the Big Ten. I think that Julian Sain and that roster is going to be a force to be reckoned with. I think Oregon, if they won it, that wouldn't surprise me at all. I've gone back and forth there. I love Oregon this year, but I think Ohio State, Julian Sain, and the guys get it done.
do you feel about the SEC?
Man, I'd love to be hipster and go Texas, or be real trendy and pick like an A&M or someone, or Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma's be real good. I think it's Georgia till it's not. I think Gunnar Stockton is wildly underrated for what he's done in this conference. And I think I value my sleep at night and getting good REM. I would have bad sleep if I picked against Georgia and Kirby with what they've done the last 2 years.
A couple of SEC-centric questions for you. First-year coach, who you like better? You like Summerall in Florida this year or Golish at Auburn this year?
Ooh, it's funny. I have Auburn beating Florida week 3. I have them both going 7-5.
Okay.
So by that logic, I guess you would say I like Auburn more this year. I think I like Florida if you gave me a 3-year runway. So this year, I think Golish has maybe just got more in place. They portaled in their whole offense that scored 38 a year ago. So they should be a step ahead of where Florida is. But I think once Florida gets what I call those marketable moments, once you get John Summerall on a microphone with Holly Rowe post-game in the Swamp after a big win, and you can pitch that to kids to go along with the brand of NIL, I think there's a lot there for that place to ascend pretty quickly. So I think Florida is probably the horse I would ride here if you gave me a couple of laps to work with.
All right, let's finish up with the home team here. We'll talk LSU Clemson next week. But do you feel like this stuff that's going on off the field in courtrooms is a distraction to LSU's current team?
That's a great question. I think it is probably, if you could tell me we get to work without that, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I think it'd be more of a distraction if it wasn't guys that this staff was so familiar with. So to answer all the, I don't, and also it's not positions that, at least to my knowledge, Hunt, is going to be a massive gaping hole for LSU if they don't get DeQuan right. They still are pretty well resourced across the board. So, would it be cool to not have this be a thing on your timeline if you're an LSU football player? Yes. But at the same time, as a player, it's so out of your control, and it's so beyond you to even really worry about. Does DeQuan Wright play first this year? We'll see. But I got meetings here in 30 minutes and practice after that. I gotta handle what's in front of me right here. So not great, but also I don't think it really impacts the overall psyche for LSU when it comes to what they'll be this year.
Enjoy the football this weekend, my friend. We'll talk to you next Wednesday.
Love you, Hump. See you soon, brother.
JD Piquel, host of the Hard Count on 3 Sports. Catch him on YouTube, wherever you find your sound. You can find my guy, JD. You can find him with us on Wednesdays. Wednesdays, speaking of, we're brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. They're online at builtbyrenaissance.com. If you want the pool of your dreams, you can get the pool of your dreams. But maybe you've already got a pool, but it's 10 years old, it's 12 years old, it's 15 years old. Maybe your plaster's fading. They can come in and remove the old and reinstall the new plaster. They don't even have to remove the waterline tile. It might be a good time to do that if you're updating your pool, and if you get that new waterline tile, new plaster, your pool's going to look brand new. That remodel can expand to the decking, to your pool equipment, adding automation, control pumps, heaters, heater lights, valves. So if you've got a pool already, want to take it to the next level, revitalize it, add some bells and whistles, Renaissance Homes and Pools can do that for you. Contact Joey. I give you his cell phone number every single week. It's 225-252-7745. That's 225-252-7745. Text Joey, say, hey, heard Hunt talking. I need to renovate my pool. Hey, I heard Hunt talking about you. Need the pool of my dreams. Hey, I heard Hunt talking about you. I'm looking for an outdoor kitchen. Joey can do all of it. It's Renaissance Homes and Pools. Check out some of their great work at builtbyrenaissance.com. Chugging along here on a Wednesday. I'm going to watch a little of Week 0. I'm not generally a huge Week 0 guy. I would prefer it if there were some SEC flair to it. I'm not the guy that's going to watch football just to watch football. You are not going to catch me watching Jacksonville State, North Dakota State. You will not catch me watching any of Hawaii and Stanford. I don't care to watch any of that. I will flip on a little North Carolina TCU. I will flip on a little NC State Virginia from Charlottesville. I'll check that out. And if I'm desperate and I'm awake, maybe Memphis UNLV, Little Dan Mullen, perhaps. But I got to check the Cubs out on Saturday. But I'm going to watch some Week 0 as well. I'm excited to get this thing off and running and get into a little bit of football because I hear y'all and I understand that we're a little bit fatigued with all of this stuff, but it is quite simply dominating the news cycle. It is dominating the ESPN shows. I mean, those guys on ESPN are plugged into NFL stuff in June. They're plugged into NFL stuff in March with they're always in on the NFL, and they're breaking into this to talk about what's going on in Baton Rouge courtrooms and Colorado courtrooms and Browns practice facility. And it is dominating the headlines. So we certainly have to talk about it. And I've got a column up at louisianasports.net if you want to go check out kind of my feelings on it. Ultimately, this was the straw that broke the camel's back. The kid taking off. I realize people are pushing back on that. It's just a habit to say kid. I don't mean to infantize these players, but a young man taking off a Browns helmet and putting on an LSU helmet was what ultimately put everybody into a tizzy. And I talked about it at the top of the show, and I wrote about it at louisianasports.net. I invite you to go check that out for free. But we'll get into some real football stuff as we move forward into this week, and certainly next week with LSU and Clemson. Got a couple of Clemson guests for you, and I'm probably going to talk some Clemson tomorrow. I wanted to let this breathe a little bit, but there are some reports coming out of Clemson that are not really glowing at this point, and I think it's relevant to talk about here in Baton Rouge when I get a minute. I just haven't quite had that this week because we've been just all over all this kind of stuff that includes a little bit of basketball as well. So we got 15 minutes left to go here on this Wednesday edition. We'll come back and close it out. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Boudreaux's Electrical Services, boudreauxelectrical.com. That's boudreauxelectrical.com. Had some nasty weather in these parts this week, and perhaps you lost power. And I bet that wasn't a lot of fun because we've all been there, and your house gets hot really quick this time of year, and it's dark, and your fridge is not going to function, nor is the freezer. It's a bad deal. And sometimes it's 2 hours, which is an inconvenience. Sometimes it's 4 days, which is a nightmare. So go ahead and make sure you've got the peace of mind to know the power's not going to go out on you. You get that Generac home standby generator from my friends Neil and Melissa at Boudreaux's Electrical Services, and call it a day. Realize that when the power goes out in your neighborhood, you're going to be powered right up. You give them a call at the same number they've had for 40 years, 985-397-1562. That's 985-397-1562. You can also call the Gonzales location at 225-300-9389. They're local. They have a local team to install that generator, a local team to maintenance that generator, local team for you to call and have on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's Boudreaux's Electrical Services, online at boudreauxelectrical.com.
The experts at Hood Dental Care want you smiling bigger and healthier than ever. New patients can get a healthy gums cleaning for just $89, plus a free exam and full mouth x-rays. A $376 value. With over 3,000 five-star Google reviews, 5 local locations, and easy online scheduling with same-day care. Hood Dental makes it simple to get started. And we always have other great giveaways for new patients. Check out hooddentalcare.com and schedule your appointment today.
People ask why I chose to partner with Parrish. The answer is simple: trust. Whether you're choosing teammates, business partners, or the people working on your home or business, choose a company you know and trust. Visit parrishbuilt.com.
At Southern Classic Chicken, we take pride in serving the freshest, seasoned, and marinated hand-breaded fried chicken. It's so good, it's wrong. Choose from a variety of classic sides like our zesty Cajun seasoned fries, savory red beans and rice, or sweet corn grits. Drive through today and pick up a family box or one of our classic combos and enjoy a true Southern classic. Order online and download our loyalty app to start earning those crispy and juicy rewards. Loyalty matters.
I'm Billy Schmidt, and I've been with First American Bank for 13 years. I have a passion of getting to know customers, getting to know their journeys, getting to know their stories, and being a small part of that, and just continuing that, and taking those relationships and expanding out into the community, just to make First American a household name. And people look at us and say, hey, what's special about you guys? You're part of a family.
Eagle 98.1, the rock station. Home of the Woody Show in the morning. Scotty Mack with Rock at Work. Michelle Southern with Southern Rock. Home of LSU sports since 1998. And rock for Baton Rouge since 1985. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. To join our VIP fan club, text ROCK to 225-499-9898. Eagle 98.1, the rock station.
Transform your living space with Lacoste & Young Remodeling and take your home from outdated to outstanding. Redefine your kitchen for the ultimate culinary experience or elevate your daily routine with a spa-worthy bathroom retreat. Our skilled team brings 3D modeling to life to ensure your vision becomes a reality. We believe luxury should be accessible and offer tailored solutions to fit your budget without compromising quality.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Talk to Luke Johnson tomorrow. Of course, covers the Saints for NOLA.com and The Advocate. Not sure if he'll be in Texas yet or not, but Saints and Cowboys on Friday night from Jerry World. So get Luke's preview of that one and really probably less previewing that game and more so previewing what Monday could look like on cut day and what kind of a competition you're getting there at the end of the Saints roster and then onto the practice squad. So looking forward to our conversation with Luke, and we'll certainly advance the story with the TROs and the injunctions as it happens in the world of collegiate athletics, specifically around LSU. But for today, one last order of business. Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
All right, so three-time NBA slam dunk champion Matt McClung fell short in the Dunkman World Championship on Tuesday. Didn't know this was going on in the upset loss. So it wasn't for a lack of a jaw-dropping dunk as McClung, he soared over three people. They were stacked in the car, three people on top of each other, and he dunked over them, jumped over them. However, he was dethroned by a 39-year-old, a.k.a. the King of China, the dunk king of China, Ding Jing-chin, as he pulled off the upset win as he jumped over somebody sitting on a motorcycle between the legs. 39 years old, he did this. I've seen the highlights. Crazy.
Dang.
Yeah. So McClung dethroned in an upset loss. Take it or leave it.
Hold on. Is this bad? Because
three-time champion,
there are some questionable ethics with like gymnastics and Olympic stuff with the Chinese.
Yeah.
Could there be a 39-year-old who's soaring over motorcyclists? Maybe we could have some improprieties. What are the testing before this event? Is this bad thing to bring up?
I don't know.
There's a checkered past here with that Olympic committee.
But also, we got to keep in consideration. A man 39 years old, so you might be on a little juice.
He could be. Although, and here's the other part of that. If this is just a dunk competition, do I want all my guys? Do I want all my guys on juice? I want just a steroid-riddled dunk contest.
We need to sell tickets to that. That's actually a good idea.
Juice up.
A steroids dunk contest. That would actually
there
be.
There you go. See?
You know when ESPN starts putting like cornhole and stuff on TV, steroid dunk competition.
Look, if we're going to have no rules in college football, we might as well put that involved too.
Hey, juice them up. So, speaking about football, ESPN is getting rid of the bottom line tracker during college football games. The network confirmed with Front Office Sports. So, no more bottom line ticker. Take it or leave it.
Leave it. I want the scores. I mean, I realize I can get them on my phone really quick, but there's access to them right there. This tells me there's a potential for what?
Some ads. Yeah, ads. Yeah.
I got it. I only have so much room on the screen. If I've got the bottom line rolling and I want to roll ads, then I got too much coverage. I'm taking the scores off, throwing the ads on. That's how I see that.
I see it like that too now. When you say it like that,
yep.
Yeah, they're definitely going to replace that with like Coca-Cola or something like that. So the PGA Tour announced on Wednesday that Matt Gogol has been suspended from competition for 6 months through February 22nd for betting on golf tournaments.
Okay.
The announcement noted that Gogol didn't place any bets on tournaments in which he participated. Gogol released a statement saying he unknowingly violated the PGA Tour policy by placing small recreational wagers on golf. Didn't know you could gamble? Take it or leave it?
Leave it. Are you an idiot?
Leave it alone.
Leave it. You can't do it.
Yeah.
You can't do it. You have direct access to guys in the field.
Exactly.
If there's a guy who's out of the tournament and you need him to go over 71 and you can give him some side action there, can't have it. You can't have it. So it's just these guys have got to be smarter than this. This is not a 16-year-old kid making a mistake. Matt Gogol's been around the box. Around the block. You can't. Around the tee box, I guess. You can't do it. I don't want to hear it. You're suspended. I don't want to hear it.
But the fact he came out and said he didn't know he could do that,
that's
crazy. So DoorDash is offering eligibility to college students for a full free year pass of the DoorDash pass.
Lord
for free,
have mercy.
But only if they claim the limited edition or the limited deal before October 12th. Students have until October 12th to sign up. Anyone who missed the deadline can subscribe for about $5 per month. So free DoorDash pass for college students. Take it or leave it.
Dude.
Got it.
I mean, take it.
Yeah.
I mean, if I
I'll take it.
had a free DoorDash pass, it would be a significant problem.
Would.
Significant problem. Shout out my guy Phil Stewart, who literally lived in the closest apartment to Pluckers on Nicholson. He lived up against the fence right behind Pluckers.
Good
You
spot.
cannot live closer to Pluckers. Used to get that delivered. Used to have them come in through the gate, delivered to him.
Oh,
my guy.
What a guy.
Getting them delivered closest apartment to the restaurant.
See, that's called prime real estate.
It is, but I mean, if I already gained 60 pounds in college. It just is what it is. But like that, free DoorDash would have been a problem.
For a year. So that's it for take it or leave it.
That's it for us today. We're brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Built by Renaissance.com is where you can find them. Talked about LSU's legal battles. I guess not LSU's legal battles. The legal battles involving players being recruited by LSU, probably more aptly put. Sam Spiegelman's with us from Rivals talking LSU recruiting. You can find that at Hunt on LSU. It was a What If Wednesday. Talked about LSU awarding 18 and 2 sevens this year. You can find that at Hunt on LSU as well. A little bit of Kellen Moore sound. That's Hunt on Saints. And shout out J.D. Piquel for coming back into the fold with us on Wednesdays talking some college football. Always enjoy that conversation. That's it for us. So everybody has a safe and happy Wednesday evening. Matt's going to drive you home next on After Further Review. We're back tomorrow. Same time, same place. Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
I'm telling you about Marucci. Official bat of Major League Baseball is made at Marucci. You want to learn how? Well, you can go take a campus tour. You can see where they make 1,200 bats every single day and send them to the best players in the world. And it's all done right here in Baton Rouge. How cool is that? That the best players in the world in Major League Baseball swing bats that are made here in Baton Rouge, and you can see just how they do it, how they cut them down, how they trim them up, how they stain them, how they ship them off right there at Marucci. If you'd like to hear the story of how two former big leaguers and their athletic trainer in a backyard shed created over the course of 2 decades the home of the official bat of Major League Baseball, you can learn that story at the tour. It's such a cool experience. If you've got young kids, highly recommend you take them. If you haven't been on the tour at Marucci, highly recommend you go check it out. It's the official bat of Major League Baseball, and it's made right here in Baton Rouge. It's at Marucci, MarucciSports.com.
Who bears the standard? Who sets the bar? It's not those satisfied by low-hanging fruit, nor by taking it easy. Now the standard is set by the best of us, by those who work hard. Dig deep